What's going on? Boys, thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, arm yourselves, life stuff. Firstly, a thank you and an apology. Patreon was not notifying me about new patrons, and I wasn't checking it because I was uncomfortable with starting a Patreon at all. But we actually do have more than one patron, and there's one dude on the tarot tier, and I missed his first spread and cut it close with the second spread because I wasn't paying attention. So sorry to you, and thank you to everybody else. And a big thank you to our Fiverr customers. We show up in searches now, and we don't show up low on searches. That's exciting, and the tarot side of the community has been overwhelmingly kind and supportive. It is a nice little nook we are carving out. Now, into the video on a completely different wavelength, we'll be discussing friends, peers, and a little bit about aggression. So, things seem to happen in waves, and this last week, there's been a lot of positivity. Not just in one realm, but in many different realms. Professionally, or in professional circles, word is getting around that I am not Mr. Scary, I am a secret sweetie pie. And that is the case, I'm an adorable, huggable boy, but that puts me in a weird spot because I earned my reputation. So I have a few people IRL now, professionally, who are trying to be my personal friends. But it's all making me feel like an asshole because I enjoy the pleasantries. I enjoy babying people. I like caring for people, or I want to care for people as much as I want to hurt them. But I get nothing out of traditional friendships these days. I don't enjoy spending time with people. And again, everything in waves. It's not just in-person stuff. Online, a few people recently have approached me trying to be my buddy. And it gave me cause to think about why I don't enjoy friends. And I think what it comes down to is the fact, quotes, friendships are still transactional. There's still give and take. And with friendships, I lean toward giving more than taking because taking from or burdening your friends, I don't like it. And when I was a kid, I was very much a takey, needy, burdeny person. And it made my life miserable. It made my friends, people who would tolerate me, miserable. And that mode of friendship still in my mind is embarrassing, humiliating, and I don't want anything to do with it. Ergo, default to give more than take to avoid being the taker, the needy one. However, this puts me in a bad spot because the way most people conduct themselves in friendships is, and I don't think it's necessarily malicious, but extracting as much pleasure from your friend as possible. And when it's just socializing, it's hard to perceive you're extracting joy as malicious. But if all the other person is doing is giving, that is not fun. If it's a transaction, and it is a transaction, it's a bad deal for that person. I am taking great pains to ensure your hierarchy of needs is met. And this is something I do professionally. You come in stressed or freaked out or crying, always in a bad situation. I give you a snack. I give you coffee, tea, or juice. You're afraid of someone coming in here and roughing you up? I have a gun, I'll fucking dome them. Then I can help you take measures to find work or achieve your goals as far as I can. And I'll get you talking about things you care about or aspire toward so you can feel heard, if not understood. And I can't make your life secure or get you into self actualization, but I can do what I can. But I think it's precisely because the way I act in traditional friendships mirrors my profession so closely. Friends are exhausting. You're receiving an elevated form of me at my sole expense. And I'm not getting paid for it. And most people don't think to return the favor. Now, a few do, and I'm fortunate to have met a few people like that. That alcoholic friend I had, for instance, although aspects of his character infuriated me, he did take measures to keep the scales balanced. And most people don't do that. Most people will take, your friends will take all you're willing to give and then some more because of your giving. There's something about people that drives them to, whenever you are a giving person or a gentle person, take more, treat you disrespectfully, even or especially when you're supposed to be kindly with one another. Which is why aggression is important. Ensuring you always have that soul knife at the ready. It's one of the reasons I think traditional contemporary morality is bullshit designed to brainwash people into being exploitable. If you walk around trying always and exclusively to be good, you will get exploited into the dirt. Whereas if you are aggressive, even if you are ineffectively aggressive, it's a night and day difference. Take average dipshit Joe, the standard low intensity, low frequency bad person. If you are Mr. Giving, Mr. Accommodation, he will take advantage of you. Well, he'll be friendly with you at first to get all you have, and then he'll get aggressive and take more. Or blame you for not giving more than you can give. Versus if you are Mr. Aggressive, Mr. Tread Lightly, even if people really have no reason to tread lightly around you. He'll avoid you, or he'll try to placate you, without your needing to do anything other than maintain an aggressive energy. This dickhead who would have otherwise exploited you, taken from you, pushed you around, will do or give for you to avoid the idea that you might do to him. I'm beginning to understand why bullies exist. I'm beginning to understand why people with power are bullies. Most of the population has been socialized, brainwashed to walk around with built-in vulnerabilities, trained to be exploited. And that's why I don't like friendship. If we're going to be friends, then you better be an amazing friend, because I'll try to be an amazing friend for you. But let's say you do go in this direction and you both are amazing friends to each other. Then it's so weird. It's almost like by fulfilling the contract to the letter and beyond, it becomes even more impersonal. So if what you're looking for in friendship, which we haven't even really discussed, is the emotional connection, there is no good way to accomplish that. Your options are be taken advantage of, take advantage, set stern boundaries to avoid being taken advantage of, but when you do this, that softness of friendship goes away, or you mutually go above and beyond, which that's what it is. It creates a tension. Neither of you wants to slip, so you are in this. You're competing with one another to keep each other happy. And that's not relaxing, even though it technically satisfies what friendship should be. There's no winning. And that's why I prefer peers or professional acquaintances. Because with them, when you're looking for love, you don't find it. When you stop looking, you do find it. Peers and professional acquaintances or contacts are founded on transactions, right? Within friendships, everything is transactional, but you're trying not to think about that. You are trying to think solely about the soft emotional connection, and then you lose it every single time. Whereas with peers, people in your or sharing your profession, similar skills, similar aims within this field, or professional acquaintances, contacts, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, favors for favors, in consistently satisfying these lower end contracts or developing a series of successful, happy, small transactions, that warmth comes about naturally. Now, you'll be ruined if you try to grab that warmth. I think there's a tendency in human beings to strangle sources of pleasure until they die or until they fight back and then all the joy is ruined. But if you just let it be, it's like having a nice painting on your wall. You don't touch your painting, but it makes your room feel better. It fleshes it out. And that's why most of the people I know, most of the people I hold above all others, I know on a professional or favor for favor basis. They make my life feel warmer, and they certainly make my job easier as long as I don't grab at whatever it is we are developing. But again, that creates a weird spot. Because I don't think this is the way friendships are supposed to work. Yet, this mode comes most naturally to me. I want to be close with people as much as anyone really can be, but I don't want you to hurt me, and I don't want me to hurt you. That's another difficulty with developing aggression. It's funny, Patrice was talking, I've been going through the Patrice tapes again. They were just talking about this. Protecting other people from your nature. And no way to win, because if you do you around people, people get hurt. And if you try to stay reserved so you don't hurt people, you're hurting their feelings by staying reserved. I don't know what to do about this. Probably what I'll do is continue fleshing out what comes most naturally to me, trying to understand it, but I wish friendliness didn't come with commitments. I wish there were the equivalent of one night stands, but for friendships. You get to be really cool to each other for a brief period, and then you never see each other again. And in that way, there isn't enough time for you to realize everything wrong with you, with both of you, or to hate each other or to hurt each other. But even if things like this were common, because thinking about it, this did happen, that ESFP dude I met, I think 2 years ago now, the moment circumstances make it impossible for you to develop a friendship with someone, then you want the friendship. Then you're back into being Mr. Pathetic Needy. But I think even in that sort of situation, dealing with your own emotions after something good is easier than dealing with whatever consequences come from a longer stretch of something that turns bad. I don't know. These are the thoughts in my noggin today. Also, another smaller thought about quotes good. Everybody frames themselves as a good person, especially in the United States, but have you noticed the way trying to be nice or do a good act independently outside of a nonprofit or something is almost always interpreted with suspicion or hostility? Maybe that's just me, maybe it's my face, but in the last 7 years, every single time I have tried to do something kind for people or for a stranger, always met with suspicion or hostility. It's like people don't want to be warm and close as a culture, while talking about how much we don't have that, or how good of a person you are. Another thing I don't get. Stick with peers and acquaintances and develop your repertoire of caring and aggressive armaments. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.